The scent of marigolds and cumin hung in the air of the Sharma house, a familiar perfume that announced Diwali was near. In the kitchen, the heart of the home, 70-year-old Bella Sharma moved with a rhythm known only to her bones, a roll of dough, a sprinkle of flour, a sizzle of mustard seeds in hot oil. Her granddaughter, 8-year-old Maya, sat at the worn wooden table, meticulously arranging silver foil on sugary burfi squares, her tongue poking out in concentration. "Careful, Betha," Bella murmured, her voice like dry leaves. "Each sweet is a promise of joy. Handle it with love." In the living room, the promise of joy was being stress-tested. Anita's mother, Anita, was balancing a spreadsheet on her laptop with one hand and trying to untangle a string of fairy lights with the other. Her phone, wedged between her ear and shoulder, buzzed with a client's urgent demand. Yes, the deliverables are on track," she said, her eyes scanning the room for where her teenage son, Rohan, had vanished with the tape she'd asked for 5 minutes ago. Upstairs, 15-year-old Rohan was in his fortress of solitude, headphones sealing him in a world of thumping bass. He wasn't ignoring his mother, he was strategically delaying. The party tonight was his aunt's, his glamorous, impossibly successful Aunt Priya. Her parties were a minefield of subtle comparisons and polite interrogations about his future plans, which currently amounted to mastering a new guitar riff and surviving calculus. He scrolled past pictures of his cousin's internship at a flashy startup, feeling the familiar cold knot of inadequacy tighten in his stomach. The doorbell rang, and the household shifted its axis. It was Anita's younger sister, Priya, a whirlwind of designer silk and contagious energy, her arms laden with gift bags. "Hello, my favorite people," she sang, air-kissing Anita's cheek. "Maya, darling, you look beautiful. Where's my big nephew?" Priya's arrival brought a new, electric buzz. She was the success story, the one who'd built a thriving fashion brand from scratch. Her life, curated on social media, was a cascade of glamorous shoots, exotic vacations, and powerful connections. To Bella, she was still her baby girl who couldn't tie her shoelaces until she was 7. To Anita, she was both a point of immense pride and a silent, relentless benchmark. As dusk painted the sky in shades of lavender and tangerine, the family converged at Priya's minimalist, art-filled penthouse. The party was in full swing, a glittering mix of entrepreneurs, artists, and socialites. The air hummed with conversation about blockchain, artisanal gin, and property prices. Anita, in her sensible but elegant sari, felt a pang of displacement. Her world was of concrete, sustainability reports, and solving logistical puzzles. Here, amidst the abstract sculptures and the talk of disruption, she felt solid, practical, and utterly uninteresting. Rohan was cornered by a tech investor, a friend of Priya's, who was quizzing him about his digital native skill set. Maya, overwhelmed by the noise and the sheer height of the balcony, clung to her father Arvind, who was happily discussing monsoon patterns with the only other person who looked vaguely lost, the building's landscaper. Bella sat quietly on a plush sofa, a small island of calm in a sea of movement. She observed it all. Anita's tight smile, Rohan's slumped shoulders, Maya's wide eyes. She accepted a glass of pomegranate juice from a passing waiter, her gnarled fingers contrasting with the sleek crystal. The critical moment arrived not with a bang, but with a careless champagne-fueled laugh. A cluster of Priya's friends, including a sharply dressed woman named Natasha, were admiring a large modern painting, a chaotic splash of color and texture. "It's so raw, so deliberately unrefined. It's like the artist just threw the trash of their emotions onto the canvas, but in the most exquisite way, of course." She turned, her eyes sweeping the room and landing on the Sharma family cluster. Her gaze flickered over Anita's traditional silk, Rohan's defiantly casual hoodie under his blazer, Bella's simple handloom cotton. It was a look Anita had seen before, a polite, barely veiled assessment that found them wanting in this rarefied atmosphere. Natasha, aiming for witty and landing squarely on cruel, gestured lightly with her glass. A bit like this delightful eclectic mix tonight, no? A beautiful, authentic contrast to the usual crowd, almost street. The word hung in the air. Then she added with a tinkling laugh, "No offense, darling Priya. It's charming. Really keeps things real." The small circle around her chuckled awkwardly. Priya's smile froze. Anita's blood turned to ice. She saw Rohan's face flush crimson, his hands ball into fists. She saw Maya shrink into Arvind's side, and she saw her mother Bella very slowly place her glass down on a side table. The click of crystal on wood was a tiny, but to Anita it was a starter's pistol. For years, Anita had lived in a quiet state of negotiation, negotiating between her mother's world and Priya's, between her professional respect and her social insecurity, between her pride in her solid, meaningful work and the flashy allure of success as defined in magazines. She had absorbed 1,000 tiny slights for the sake of harmony, swallowed comments about her stable but not sexy job, her traditional choices. She had done it for family, for peace.
But this was different. This wasn't about her. This was about her son's humiliated stance, her daughter's confused eyes, her mother's dignified silence. This was about the word trash being used, however indirectly, to describe the people she loved most, the people whose love was the bedrock of her life. A profound, unexpected calm settled over Anita. The hustle of her daily life, packing lunchboxes, reviewing blueprints, helping with homework, managing budgets, had forged a steel within her that no boardroom bully or snide socialite could match. This was just another problem to solve, and she had the solution. She stepped forward, her silk sari whispering. She didn't raise her voice, she simply let it carry, clear and steady, cutting through the ambient chatter. It was the voice she used on construction sites, the one that commanded attention without needing to shout. "Natasha, was it?" Anita said, her smile polite but her eyes like flint. "An interesting perspective. It reminds me of a problem we're solving at the new water reclamation plant I'm leading. You see, what some dismiss as trash, wastewater, we see as a resource. With the right process, it can generate clean energy, irrigate crops, sustain communities. It's about vision." She paused, letting the shift in topic, from art critique to infrastructure, disorient the group. Then she turned to Priya, whose face was a mask of confusion. "Priya Didi," Anita said, using the Hindi word for older sister, a term of endearment laced now with unshakable authority. "Speaking of resources, we need to talk about the Sharma Family Trust, that $100 million public-private partnership for the statewide water sustainability project, the one I've been advising. The final meeting with the investors is Monday." Anita's eyes never left her sister's. "I've been thinking, if our family's values, respect, dignity, seeing potential where others see waste, then perhaps I've misjudged the partners. Perhaps we should reconsider their involvement entirely. In fact, I think we should cancel the deal. I'll call the chairman first thing in the morning." The room didn't just go silent, it went void of oxygen. The only sound was the distant hum of the city far below. Natasha's mouth was a perfect O. The tech investor looked at Rohan with sudden, intense reevaluation. Priya stared at Anita as if seeing her for the very first time. $100 million. Not a fashion line, not a social media campaign. $100 million for water, for life, for the state. Anita's world, the world of concrete and pipelines and treatment plants, had just gate-crashed the penthouse party with staggering, unassailable gravity. Rohan straightened up, his humiliation replaced by awe. Maya peeked out from behind Arvind, sensing the power shift in her mother's posture. And Bela, on the sofa, allowed a slow, deep smile to spread across her face. It was the smile of a woman watching her daughter finally plant her feet firmly in the earth she had always cultivated. Priya was the first to move. She crossed the space and took Anita's hands, her eyes glistening. "Anita," Priya whispered, her voice thick. "I'm so sorry." The apology wasn't just for Natasha's comment, it was for a lifetime of unspoken comparisons, for not seeing the empire her sister had been building, brick by bureaucratic brick, for missing the profound resilience in the everyday hustle of Anita's life. The party unraveled quickly after that. The guests, sensing a profound family moment they were not part of, made their excuses. Soon it was just the Sharmas in Priya's spacious, suddenly quiet apartment. They didn't go home. Instead, they migrated to the kitchen. Bela, taking silent command, found Priya's well-stocked but rarely used pantry. She pulled out lentils, rice, ginger. Anita shed her fancy silk for one of Priya's soft sweaters. Rohan, without being asked, started washing the rice. Maya was given the sacred task of picking fresh coriander leaves. There, under the bright kitchen lights, surrounded by the quiet hum of the refrigerator, they began to make khichdi. The simple, comforting dish of lentils and rice was the antithesis of the canapes they'd just eaten. It was the food of monsoons, of sick days, of coming home. As Bela stirred the pot, the rhythmic scrape of the spoon against the bottom was a familiar, healing sound. Priya, chopping tomatoes, began to talk, not about fashion weeks, but about the paralyzing fear of failure, the loneliness at the top, the pressure that kept her awake at night. Anita spoke of the joy of seeing a project she'd designed provide clean water to a village, of the quiet satisfaction in Maya's science project on filtration, of her pride in Rohan's gentle patience with his grandmother. Rohan confessed his fears of not being exceptional like his aunt or solid like his mother. "I just like music," he said, his voice soft. "It doesn't feel like a plan." "A plan?" Bela chuckled, tasting the khichdi. "When I was a girl, my plan was not to spill the milk on the way home. Life happens in the walking, Beta, not in the map." They sat around the kitchen island, bowls of steaming yellow khichdi before them, a dollop of ghee melting in the center. It was a shared meal that tasted of belonging. The sensory details were simple now, but profound. The earthy scent of turmeric, the warmth of the bowl in their hands, the soft clink of spoons, the sound of Maya's contented chewing. The $100 million deal was not canceled. Anita had no intention of canceling it. It was too important. But the leverage she had wielded was not financial. It was moral. It was the unshakable power of knowing who you are and what you stand for. Weeks later, on Diwali night, the Sharma house was once again filled with light and scent. But it felt different. Priya was there early, helping Bela fry the puris, getting oil stains on her expensive kurti and laughing about it. Rohan played a new song he'd written, a melody that was both resilient and hopeful. Maya explained the diya she'd made at school to represent clean water for all. When they lit the lamps, the flickering glow illuminated their faces. Bela's wise wrinkles, Anita's calm strength, Priya's softened vibrancy, Rohan's thoughtful expression, Maya's joyful wonder, and Arvind's steady smile. Anita looked around at her family, this beautiful, eclectic mix, held together not by flawless perfection, but by the mended cracks of understanding, by small kindnesses offered daily, by the resilience forged in life's quiet hustle. They were not trash, they were the resource. They were the carefully cultivated garden, the reclaimed water, the sustainable, enduring engine of love. They were home, and in that moment, lit by 100 small flames, the connection between them burned brighter than any deal, any party, or any hurtful word ever could. It was a universal, heartwarming truth. Belonging is not about fitting into someone else's world, but about building your own, together, one shared meal, one small kindness, one everyday moment at a time.